A day after the disaster, French investigators have arrived in Cairo. The clues are still coming in, but no hard evidence of what caused the crash. So, what are the theories? A bomb on board is one possible explanation. If so, who planted it, where and when? France is a top target for terrorists, and after the Paris attacks of last year, dozens of airport ground staff had their airside permits revoked for fears of extremism.
La sécurité à l'aéroport Charles de Gaulle est plutôt high level.
The security level at Charles de Gaulle Airport is a very high level. It's at the international standard, the same as London, Frankfurt or Holland. But having 100% security is impossible. The difficulty we face at Charles de Gaulle is that it's a very big airport. There are more than 90,000 people working there.
Today, French aviation investigators have been questioning everyone who could have had access to the doomed plane while it was in Paris. The EgyptAir Airbus was on its fifth journey of the day on Wednesday. It started in Asmara, Eritrea, flying back to Cairo, and then it flew on to Tunis, before returning to Cairo, where it stayed for 2 hours. It then flew to Paris and was on the ground there for just 50 minutes before its final fatal flight. The responsibility for securing the plane in Paris was down to the airline, not the airport. But if explosives were placed on board, then no terrorist group has yet claimed responsibility. Last year, it took IS just 10 hours before they claimed they blew up a Russian airliner over the Sinai. Yet there's been almost no chatter about this incident. So could the EgyptAir plane have been downed by the crew or a passenger? Perhaps a fight in the cockpit? That could explain the violent movements.
It is difficult to explain away the flight profile that the aircraft followed when it descended in the way that it did. Violent turns left and right and a rapid descent. That is not very consistent at all with some form of structural failure of the aircraft.
In 1999, an EgyptAir co-pilot was accused of bringing down his own passenger plane, killing everyone on board. Egypt blamed a mechanical fault then, and says the pilot in this latest tragedy is not under suspicion. After a pilot for the airline Germanwings deliberately crashed his plane into the Alps last year, pilots are not supposed to be left alone in the cockpit. And then there's technical fault. Tonight, data has come to light of smoke alarms going off just before the plane disappeared. That could be accidental or from an explosion. But there won't be any definitive answers unless the cockpit voice recorder can be found beneath the sea, and that could take months. Gardner, BBC News.